walk in the middle of traffic, just like you wouldn't drive on the sidewalk. Pedestrians and vehicles stick to their respective locations, and never shall the twain meet! Unless, of course, there's a crosswalk. But even then, there's a mutual understanding of where you're supposed to be in conjunction to each other. And the same logic can be applied to relationships. Whether it be romantic, platonic, or something in between, we all have various levels of comfortability and want them to be respected. But the hard part of that is proper communication. If you're not comfortable with physical touch and someone reaches out to hug you, then that's your responsibility to tell them and make sure it doesn't happen again. You have to set and enforce your boundaries, like Emily Ramirez from Close Enough in the episode The House Guest from Hell. It opens with Emily enjoying a quiet evening on the couch, and as hard as she works, not only at her job but as a parent, it's really cathartic seeing her get some much needed me time. But that gets swiftly interrupted by an old friend of hers, Becca. And I say friend because according to Emily's flashbacks, Becca has been nothing but a self-absorbed, egocentric, emotional leech with an obnoxious Valley Girl accent. But Emily, with the patience of a saint, answers the phone, thus welcoming an array of chaos into her life.
You hate seeing her, why don't you just cancel?
I can't. She's my oldest friend.
You're too nice. Firm boundaries are the only way to make people respect you.
Hey, Bridget!
No! See?
Despite her husband's warning and her friend's advice, Emily wimps out and goes out with Becca, hoping that the next time they meet will be even longer. And if I had a friend whom I only spoke with on such scarce occasions, I'd assume they wouldn't want to associate with me. No idea why. I'm awesome. I'm amazing. They're the one with the problem. Anyway, after giving her friend advice on boundaries that Emily should really take for herself, Becca breaks up with her jerky boyfriend, and well...
I did it. I set boundaries and I broke up with Luke.
As funny as this scene is, it shows that setting boundaries, while a good thing, it ain't always pretty. Becca set boundaries and dumped her boyfriend, which resulted in her knocking at Emily's door, begging for a place to stay. In cases like this, I'd suggest having a backup plan if things turn south. So long as that plan doesn't involve manipulating a good friend into letting you stay at her overcrowded apartment.
You're my best friend, and you're responsible for me not having anywhere to sleep tonight, but I can be homeless if that's what you want.
No, of course you can stay.
What was supposed to be for one night turned into 2 weeks! Becca becomes a nuisance to everyone in the apartment and constantly expects iced coffees at every complaint. Psst, Kelly Valleys.
I know she's your friend, but she's taking advantage of your kindness.
Wow, really hit the nail on the head with that one, didn't you, Josh? At this point, Becca is a massive truck getting too close to the sidewalk that is Emily's life. So in the midst of trying to talk to her, it turns out Becca is pregga. And Emily, poor, sweet, naive, dumb, Emily thinks of the worst case scenario and continues to let Becca stay. At least until she can find a new place for Becca and her quickly growing baby. What a hell-raising experience! It'll make sense later.
Hecate's a friend of Luke's. She offered to be my doula for the home birth.
No. This chick is mowing down the entire sidewalk. How you gonna plan a home birth? Bitch, you are a guest. You need a home of your own first. I've had it up to here with this broad, and so has Emily. But instead of confronting Becca directly, she texts Luke, Becca's ex, in hopes of getting them back together and her finally leaving. Now at this point in the episode, with all the pentagrams, goat heads, and an upside-down cross, I wondered, is Becca about to give birth to the Antichrist or something? What the hell? And oh boy, as always, I'm right. Because it turns out, Luke is short for Lucifer. Her boyfriend is the literal devil. Makes sense, these two are a match made in hell. And at first, Emily's plan seems to be working, until Becca tells everyone Luke is also moving in. This girl is either dumb as bricks or can't read the room. But at last, Emily talks back to Becca, just in time for her water to break. Even while giving birth, Becca still manages to be a terrible friend to Emily, and she finally lets her have it. Years of pent-up frustration comes lashing out at Becca.
That's it! I want you out of my house, Becca! And I want you out of my life!
Ironically, it's Becca who decides to break off their friendship and moves back in with Luke and their baby. Supposedly, it's Emily who's the toxic one. I guess birthing the child of Satan really helped get her priorities straight. Harumph harumph.
Go Go to hell, Becca.
I am. You never let.
Even though Emily's sidewalk got driven over for years, Becca is in a new lane now. And at last, Emily is able to walk her path in peace. If that makes any sense. But you get the point. And that was The House Guest from Hell. Throughout Close Enough's 2 seasons, and hopefully its 3rd please support it on HBO Max. We don't want another Infinity Train situation. Emily is depicted as the busybody, can-do person, even at the cost of her own desires. She doesn't ruffle any feathers or get into any kind of conflict unless it's for her family. So you can imagine how easy it can be to guilt trip her into helping anyone, because she's such a caring person, but is also a massive pushover. Such kindness is often weaponized and taken for granted, just as Becca did to Emily, because she didn't set nor enforce firm boundaries.
Sometimes relationships become toxic and one-sided, and then you need to set boundaries. Stand up for yourself. Say enough is enough, Becca.
Emily really should have taken her own advice, as we all should. Humans seek validation and acceptance, but in reality, not everyone is so open-minded to your personality, hobbies, or just won't like you, no matter the reason. Why waste your time trying to get the approval of people who don't care about you, while you have loved ones who do? And more importantly, yourself. One great friend is better than 10 fake ones, I'll tell you that much. I know it might feel uncomfortable and such a bizarre concept to tell others to treat you like a decent human being and respect your boundaries as you would for them, but in the long run, it's better for all parties involved. Otherwise, you'll end up like Emily, having so much built-up frustration that resulted in compromising your comfortability for others, especially those who don't treat you right, while hurting the ones who do. And again, most importantly, yourself. I'm gonna need y'all to get your self-love up. If someone cares about you and genuinely enjoys your company, then I'm sure they would be happy to know what makes you uncomfortable, because people with good intent would never want to leave a bad impact. Some might think that setting and enforcing boundaries is selfish and you're not thinking of the other person's feelings, meh. And to that I say, no. It's not selfish to ensure you're not in harm's way. It's self-preservation. Though it is possible that what you're comfortable with may clash with what other people may or may not be comfortable with. But that's a matter of ensuring you have clear communication. There's a difference between always saying yes to everything and saying no to nothing. Learn to stand up for yourself, because at the end of the day, if nobody got you, you got you. And if nobody got me, Gara got me!